Yes, I'm Hanson, the caretaker of this house that these kids come to, and I'm kind of your standard Chris Elliott weirdo character. Well, the great thing about Keenan is that he knows that somebody like me has to just do his own stuff, and the directing is more like, hey, maybe it's funny if you do this, or what do you think about doing that, and that's the way we work together. You know, we have a similar sense of humor, so it's really just a matter of trying to make each other laugh, you know, and that's the way I like to work, you know. Um, I'm not good when people, you know, kind of really over direct me because I'm not that good an actor. I don't know how to interpret people's directions. Well, I know David, and again, it's like just working with a friend and trying to make him laugh and trying to, and it's the same with Marlon and Sean and the girls in the show. It's really just, to me, the purpose here is try to make the other actors laugh, try to make them break up, and so we have to cut and shoot again. He sits back and he wants to see what you come up with, and as long as it's in the right ballpark, you know, he's fine with it, and you know, that's the best way to direct, I think. It's just, especially a comedy, when you're hiring people that, you know, sort of have done this before, you know, to let them kind of come up with their own stuff. They added a Charlie's Angels fight sequence with me and the ladies, and you know, I assumed, yeah, okay, so I'll come on and they'll do a couple of close-ups of me going hi-ya and that kind of stuff, and evidently they want me to actually learn karate for this. And honey, I haven't, you know, I got out of gym class, you know, in 12th grade. I haven't exercised seriously in like 30 years. Really spontaneous and really funny and open, and you know, we've been doing this choreography and we all suddenly stopped today and just realized, well, yeah, okay, we know these moves, but tomorrow we have to make it funny, so we're all just kind of forgetting now about all this choreography and trying to make it funny tomorrow, and that's great to hear that from them. So,
You know, it's a big spoof comedy, big loud comedy. So it's just the premises, these kids in college, all the kids from the first movie, um, go to this haunted house for an experiment, and then it's them interacting with a ghost. It's kind of, even though it's really tense, it's a little looser because there is no, I didn't get a script and go, okay, we're going to do this thing and this thing. There was a lot of like scene to come, and rewrites and changes every day. So it's also the nature of this thing is, which is fine for this kind of movie. It's broad, slapsticky, you know, comedy, parody. I've never had experienced this kind of thing before, where it's just fly by the seat of your pants, changes every day. You're getting script pages are different, and you know, they're coming up with different scenes. And forget the poltergeist takeoff. Now we're going to do, you know, Survivor. You're not really in it. You know, you're kind of outside of it, approaching it from the outside. And I would never ascribe like acting type stuff to this. I'm not in my trailer going, okay, what's Dwight's motivation? Where am I coming from? You know, what is my emotional center? I mean, it's just, no. So that's different. I have one tiny little scene with Marlon, um, but those guys are really cool. I really dig them. Sean and Marlon are really fun guys and funny guys, and I got to say, everybody. I know this like sounds like corny Hollywood bullshit, but everybody on the cast is really fun and cool to work with. You know, they're talented and they make me feel old.
I think we have a really strong cast between, you know, David Cross and uh, uh, Chris Elliott, me and Marlon. I mean, we all are from that school of, you know, going for the laugh. So it's been fun to see other guys like do their thing. It wouldn't work if Keenan wasn't a comedian and you know, he encourages it. He gave us the whole platform to do it in. So everybody is trying to, you know, to do their best, and he you know, has a very relaxed environment. He also comes up with stuff for us to do and try something different. And it's fun. When you do a parody, it's all about the cadence, the timing. It's like, you know, so in the script, it's written a certain way to a certain kind of a rhythm, and you have to kind of keep that pace, or else if you're just trying to improvise a bunch of stuff, you mess up other gags. So there is opportunities for us to do some kind of improvisational stuff, but it has to be at the right moment. And we locked ourselves in a room along with the rest of the writers and Keenen, and we came up with the idea for the sequel. In the original Scary Movie, we parodied the slasher kind of flicks. This one, we took the supernatural, and we're doing that. Keenen was casting it, and he, you know, he brought in a bunch of people, and you know, Keenan's very good at. He has a very good eye for talent. We work harder, probably because it's our brother, because we know his standards, and you know, he sets the standards pretty high, and we just don't want to disappoint him because we, you know, look up to him. The only pressure we put on ourselves is just to be funny, and so whatever happens happens after that, because that's all we set out to do with the first one, was to just make the funniest movie we could make, and the same thing holds true for the second one. So, you know, hopefully they'll laugh. Well, we have a really good team, so it's not just on me, it ain't just on Maul, it ain't just on Keenen. We have other guys that we wrote the script with that are really funny, and we all just kind of, we're there for each other. So it's tough and grueling on all of us, but you know, it helps to have that team.
I mean, when I did comedy, I was hoping it would be something that's outrageous, but I wasn't so sure anybody would think of me this way. But Keenen had heard me on Howard Stern or something. He said, I think you could do this. And I said, okay, as long as we can be as completely over the top as possible. And I don't think even he was prepared for the fact that I would just do anything in this. I didn't care. I said, the funnier and grosser and far out it is, it's fine with me. Keenan's really great about letting us just kind of, I mean, we just say anything, you know, that comes to mind that might be funny, we think, or hope. And Keenan's pretty good about it. Then he might have an adjustment, or he'll come up with other stuff. And of course, the script is, you know, he and the writers together have come up with these great situations. So it's hilarious. I mean, I have to say, the other day we were choking laughing. It's so funny. So, I'm pretty well known in the business for, you know, improvising a lot. I mean, I like to ad lib and improvise a lot. And I find that the most secure directors and writers, and a lot of people I've worked with are writer-directors like Keenen or Oliver Stone or Sofia Coppola. I mean, a lot more directors do a lot of their own writing, and a lot of writers become directors. And I find the most secure ones are the ones who do like it if actors try to come up with things and so on. They're not threatened by it. In fact, they welcome it.
We was so happy. I mean, all our close friends was there. You know, Linda was there. You know, it was a great moment, because it was like, that was Keenan's 20 years in the business, and me and Sean's 10 years in the business. And it's like, no matter how much funny stuff you give people, you know, we had Living Color and you know, various movies, but this was just like the culmination of it all. We all went off, it was like, you know, the unit split up and we all did our own thing and we all grew and then came together and we did Scary Movie. It was like magic. Parodies in like the bloodstream, you know, from In Living Color to, you know, I'ma Get You Sucker, Don't Be a Menace. You know, parody is just something that we like making fun of things and people and give our take on it. We just gonna have some fun. You know, we look at it as jokes. I ain't gonna be all intimidated. I don't plan on, you know, we don't plan on doing anything bad. You know, some sequels, you know, it gets worse. You know, but we're trying to make them better. You know what I mean? We're trying to do what Austin Powers did, which was on your second one, you want to make it funnier and different than your first one. So this one is different than the first one, and I think the humor and the stamp of the humor is going to be the same, but it's different stuff, different characters, and I think this one, to me, this one's richer in comedy. You know, we're in college now, and we become part of an experiment and get sent to a haunted house, and us not knowing it's a haunted house, and then, you know, we have to dealing with the supernatural, and, you know, it's a lot of big, from then on, it's just jokes. Keenen just has a very strong vision. He just knows funny. He doesn't waste film. He doesn't, we're gonna do a high-arcing shot, a panoramic view of the, no, he's like, where's the joke? Film that. You know, it's very simple, and you know, he's really good at characters and what's funny about them, and, you know, taking the characters to different levels, and, you know, it's just, I think it's the vision that we all kind of have, you know what I mean, and he just has a very strong eye. You know, there might be a 3 down the line, but I think we're gonna go do some mainstream just comedies, and then come back and do 3. But for right now, we're focusing on 2. Me, Sean, and Keenen, we've been working together since we was like, you know, yay big. We was pitching Keenen, you know, different sketch ideas when he came home from college or from A Living Color. Me and Sean would have a sketch for him, and he would go, "That's funny, but to make it funnier, what y'all should do is this," and then he'd give us a direction. So to us, it's like, you know, as long as we're working together, it's all love. I think David Cross and Chris Elliott is a great, you know, those are comic, you know, vets. And, you know, I love being in that war with them. They keep me laughing. I love it. I love to be in a scene and have to stop myself from laughing. Like, even though I'm committed, and I commit when I'm working, but dog, they just do some funny stuff, and I just, you know, sometimes I just break.
It's just such a fun set, you know. The the script and the whole idea is so shameless and wonderfully vulgar that you know, I fit right in. It's really sort of comedy on the hoof, and I love that. And Keenen works pretty fast too, which I also like. It's really weird to be kind of the geezer on the set, you know. This is kind of a new role for me. It's a little weird, but I'm having such a good time. Working with Keenen is great on 2 counts. One, because he has such a great instinct for the mechanics of comedy, of why something isn't working or how something will work. But also, he goes straight to the heart of what it is that you're doing, and so that he can explain to you very swiftly what he needs. Completely self-interested. He is more than a little sleazy. His number one on his agenda always is getting laid by whatever means possible.
I still am really new to the business, so I had no idea. When my agent called me and he said, the movie made $15.5 million last night, I had no idea what that meant. So I was like, that's cool. He's like, no, you don't understand what this means. It was really cool. It was really exciting. A Scary Movie was literally the first audition I had in LA. So my whole life has changed since. Every aspect of Scary Movie has changed.
I bet, yeah.
Sounds so sentimental. Every young actor, actress is very concerned, of course, about how they look and come off, and so he just really helped me work through those barriers. And I think my best moments were when I was really goofy and very unafraid of looking unattractive. And so it was Keenen. He was amazing. He really pushed me, and it was great. It's Cindy's first year in college. She's more confident as a person, as a woman, although she is still a little scarred and tender from watching her friends get killed and finding out that her boyfriend was gay and, gosh, what else? Getting shot to the ceiling. So she's been through a lot, and you can see it in her. Cindy's a changed person, but at the same time, she still is pretty naive. I feel so fortunate to be able to work with these great comic geniuses. And they're all wonderful people, too. Truly kind and gracious. They're very different movies. I liked how fun the first one was. It was really gaggy and slapsticky, and this one is cool though because I feel like it's a lot more performance-based. So there'll be a lot more emphasis, I think, on the performances.
They're called to be a part of an experiment for school, for college, for one of their classes. And out of that, they all get picked because they each are perfect candidates for this type of experience, obviously because they're all traumatized. And so they come together, and that's when it all unfolds. It does make you much more comfortable because you don't have to worry about doing something that's not funny and then him shooting it, and you don't have to worry about him being afraid to use something that is funny. You know, like yesterday I just tried something, and he liked it, so we keep it, and that's what's cool. He does, there's a part of him that's very serious, as the writer, and he can be a really, focus-minded kind of individual and writer. And when we're tired on the set after like 12 hours, and Keenan's worked our bones. But he is funny. He's just physically funny, and he's just funny. But yeah, he's got a totally different side that's serious, and I think that's what allows them to both write and focus and kind of create projects, because they're like a little entity. That like he could have made that character mean, but there's something about his character that's very lovable. And even though he goes in all different directions, he's crazy. He does some crazy stuff. Something's wrong with him. Even though he goes in all different directions, he's so funny. But it's still the character. Like he is Dwight from beginning to end.
It's not that it's intimidating. It's just, this kind of comedy is really different from anything I've done, because some of it's a bit more slapstick, and I have to just kind of trust, Keenan when he says, go for it and do this, and that I'm not gonna look retarded, you know what I mean? And that it will fit in, and when they cut it together, it'll come nicely. So it makes me really nervous, but I'm just kind of doing it, and I guess we'll see what happens. Really, with the way it's been going, I think every character kind of has his own thing going. So, David and David Cross and Marlon, for instance, have been a bit more slapsticky. Sean, who plays Ray, seems to be a bit more real, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to play my character somewhere in between there. It's weird because on one hand, from the aspect of me being a fan of people's work, I see Tim Curry and he's amazing, and he's, some of his work is like my favorite ever. And Keenan and all of the Wayans and most of the people in this movie really are like so great. Chris Elliott. But then I don't know, I think I put on my professional hat, and when I come in, I'm thinking more about what I'm gonna do, and how that relates to them. So it kind of takes away the whole aspect of like the great stuff they've done. It's more of like, what is their character doing right now, and what do I get from that? So on set, I don't really think about it, which is a good thing, because I'd probably be really nervous if I did.
You have to just completely forget everything that you know and that you've learned from the past and just be out there and totally raw and exposed and just go for it and just make yourself look like an idiot. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but you just have to be willing to go, okay, that didn't work, let's move on, just do something else, you know? I love it because it's very, he gives great notes and subtle notes, and you just, because he's an actor, he gets it, and he knows that the smallest adjustment just makes it work. The first one is its own thing, and this is going to be its own thing, and it's very different. It's like, which I think is great. It's not just sort of a sequel and very similar to the first one. It's really different. And I think audiences will love that about it, that it's like the same sensibility and the same just kind of like hilarious, just crazy stuff going on, but it's really different.